Hello friends, it is Monday. No, it's not Monday. It's Wednesday, the 1st of April. And it's the beginning of the Women Rights Classic SFF readathon, also known as Classic SFF readathon, where I read books by women published before the year 2000. It was published, no, created by Maya from Maya Reads. This is my TBR. I have Diana Wynne Jones's Howl's Moving Castle. I have The Darkest Rising from the Darkest Rising sequence by Susan Cooper. So like the second book of this 6-book omnibus. And I have The Shape Changer by Jennifer Robinson. I've already started it, and I have this much left. Like, can you see it? No? I mean, I have to get to here. This is the next book, Song of Mana. And I am on page 186 and I have to get to 276. So I have 89 pages left of this. And so I might start with this one just to finish a book. I haven't read anything today yet for either for the readathon. I've been listening to something else from my TBR. And I've been procrastinating all day since I got home almost. Except I had dinner, then I procrastinated some more. I think that's my life these days. I think I was home at like 4 and I spent like almost 3 hours just looking at my phone, scrolling through things. And then I realized I was extremely hungry and I did my dishes quickly, ate some leftovers. Good thing I had leftovers. And watched some YouTube, as I do, but I also just finished editing my 24 and 48 hour reading vlog, so I guess I didn't procrastinate all the time. I mean, you probably want to see that, won't you? I don't know. It is like 1:30, no, 9:30. My brain is not working today. Apart from the 3 physical books, I have also decided to try out finally reading Shards of Honor. Can't really see it. By Lois McMaster Busho. This is the audio that I have access to. Yeah, it's 8 hours, so it's a little shorter than the norm, which I would guess is around 10 hours. But not super far under, because like a lot of mysteries and romances and stuff, older books that are short-ish are on around 8 hours, 9 hours long. So that's good. So the reason why I haven't started it yet is because I would like to have the book a little later on. I feel like next week I'll have quite a lot of time as I'm working to listen to audios, so I will wait and start it until Monday, I think. Until then I can work on this, and this, while also working on some of my other TBR, because I have so many books on my TBR, so I figured that was a good idea. So yeah, this was my update, a check-in. I will try and read something now. Maybe I'll procrastinate some more, who knows. I'll give it an effort and try and read a little bit from Shape Changer. But it's nice to see these notes that I kept for myself, so I can get into the book again and fairly easy get into the story and not having missed too much. So in that way, it's a good thing that I've started sort of annotating things. I just don't annotate everything. So it's very much a mood kind of thing. Sometimes I feel like annotating, sometimes I don't. But I'm happy I did for this one, so I hope I will keep doing that for the remainder of the book, and I hope that'll make me feel motivated to read it. So I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hello friends. It is Tuesday. No, it's Thursday, the 2nd of April. I just went to bed, as you can probably tell. I haven't read anything today. Yesterday I think I read 5 pages of the book, maybe. I'm going to try and read something now, but I haven't really read anything for the classic SFF readathon. I've only listened to my audio of Recursion, which I finished today, and started on a new one. But they are not from this classic SFF, and I can't really decide if I vlog anything else than that right now. Tomorrow I'm working from home, and in this weekend I feel like I might get quite a lot of reading in, considering how little plans you have right now. Tomorrow I also have a doctor's appointment with my doctor in the it's like a video consultation. What do you call it? Video doctor's appointment. And it's because you've probably been able to tell, but I have some like skin issues. They flare up sometimes, and especially around my nose is the first thing it catches on to, I guess, and then it moves usually down here, and then starts moving over my cheeks, and it's like I've been able to get some treatment for it, but he wanted to see me, so I don't know if it's because he's unsure if that is what it is. So we'll see what he says. The thing is that on the other day when I asked for the appointment, it was a lot worse than it is now. So I hope that he will be able to see it. Because it goes up and down in the terms of how bad it is, but it's really it hurts like quite a bit. So it's quite annoying. I hope I will be able to get through something for it, so I can yeah. I mean, it's annoying when you have something like this that you can't really, and the foundations that I get, they don't really cover very well, or they don't stick for very long, and I don't know why that is, but I definitely need to work on finding something that's better. But yeah, this was a short update. I haven't read anything, so I don't, yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow. So bye. Hello friends, it is now it is Saturday at 11 p.m. I didn't check in yesterday because I didn't have a lot of updates, because I didn't read very much. But I did finish Shape Changes today, so I thought I'd check in with an update about that. I finished this actually a lot earlier today, so I wanted to check in with an update, but I decided to check in today because I did finish Shape Changer today, so I thought I'd check in with an update and with my thoughts. I ended up giving it 4 stars because I overall enjoyed the story and where it's going. I'd forgotten some, I think it was really easy to get into again after having left it, even though I haven't picked it up since August. I definitely enjoyed it, and I think it was a really interesting story. I get that it had some issues in terms of when it was written and how the norms from back then, but I just really ended up enjoying it. One of my reasons for not checking in until now is because I was supposed to check in with you earlier today, but then I was really busy and I had some things I needed to do, and my sister's has bought a building ground where they're building a house, and we have, it's the second time now, gone and seen the progress, and that way we've been able to see my sister, but still keeping a distance. She lives a bit further away than my other sister does, so we decided to try and visit her and talk to her like that. Then after I came home, I forgot about it again, and I had to upload a video because I have also been editing a wrap-up today. So I had to upload and edit that. Finish uploading that, it took a while because it sort of froze mid-upload because it didn't finish before I had to go. And so it was a little tricky getting it to work again. And then we had a FaceTime talk with my whole family, which we've been doing for, I think it's the 4th time or something since this quarantine thing happened. We just decided that every other day, a few days during the week, we are going to do a sort of FaceTime, all of us, and just talk about things. Maybe we do it while we're eating, sometimes we're just doing it in the evening, sometimes in the afternoon. It depends a lot. In the weekends we do it in the afternoon sometimes. And it's just been a good way of keeping up with what people are up to and just talking to the familiar faces. And that's also one of the ways that we've been able to communicate with my nephew. And so that was a nice thing. Then after that I was in a bit of a mood, and I've been watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer from wherever I left off last time I watched it. So I watched the last 4 episodes, I think, or 5 episodes of the second season, which is, the second season is without a doubt my favorite, but it was a little rough with the ending. It's always a difficult episode, and it is funny how yeah, I always enjoy how Spike ends up in this one, but yeah. But I am looking forward to watching some more of it. But I had issues actually turning off. A long time ago, I feel like it was a couple of years ago, I lost the remote for my Apple TV, which is what I use. So I have this app, but I couldn't get it to work. I wonder if I could do it now. It wouldn't, now it works. It wouldn't show the Apple TV that I could connect to, so I think there was something off with the Wi-Fi or something, so I had to recharge it and then restart it, and so I decided I could check in with you, but now it seems to be working again. It is a bit late, but I'm not at all tired right now, so I don't know if I'm going to be watching a little bit of YouTube because I am a little anxious because of the episodes of Buffy. They're not, while I enjoy them, they sometimes get me a little bit tense. So yeah, but I am going to be watching, I think, a YouTube video, and then I'll go to bed. The next book I'll pick up to read is going to be The Darkest Rising, I think. But I don't know if I'm going to be starting it tomorrow or if I'm waiting. I have also thought about finishing Gods of the Aiden Shadow, which I talked about in my video, because it's one I really enjoyed, and I would like to finish it before I forget what was going on. So I can't really decide, because I have so many books on my TBR. I feel like I wouldn't have time to read this as well, but I also sometimes have to think about what I feel like mostly reading. And it's not that I don't think that I'm going to be enjoying The Darkest Rising. I think it's going to be a quick and fun read, but I don't know. I was enjoying, definitely with Shape Changers, I was really happy with how easy it was to read. Despite the language, I felt like it flowed really well. It was a different language. It did use some other wordings. It's not difficult to understand, it was just different. And I enjoyed it overall. I don't think I've mentioned what it's about, but it is a sort of fantastical world where there is this clan known who are Shesuli. Shesulis are shape changers, and they are part of a people or clan or called the Muihar, I think. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the things correctly at all. It could be completely off. And then there's also a group of people called the Humana. And once upon a time, the Humana and Muihar was a unit. They fought alongside each other. They depended on each other. But something happened, and the Humana people betrayed the Shesuli and did some stuff, and it ended up with the Humana people turning their back against the Shesuli and considering them beasts and disgusting and something that is worthless. And they sort of brainwashed all of the other Humana people to believe the same thing, that it was the worst thing that they could ever do. Our main character is a Humana princess, but she ends up becoming a part of the Muihar clan or the Shesuli clan when she happens upon them, and she's sort of taken a little bit against her will, but she also knows that they can't just slay these people, because she realizes that they are actual humans. She didn't realize that because she'd had a wrong opinion about it, and things change. And she becomes part of this clan, and then slowly some of the Humana people works with the Shesuli again in the bigger cause, because there's a really, really great war brewing around them. And I think that it has some really, really interesting concepts, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where it's going to be going in the future, so in future books. So I'm really happy I finished it, and I'm happy I trudged on, because there was definitely a couple of moments where I struggled a little bit with the book. But I do remember when I put it down, I was actually really interested in finishing it. So why I didn't pick it up until now is probably because when I thought back to it, it was when I mostly thought about the negative part that I remembered. So it wasn't until I started reading the small notes that I've left for myself that I realized how much I actually enjoyed it. And so I got excited about reading it again. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, next book will be The Darkest Rising. And why am I not holding any of the books up is because The Darkest Rising is lying on the floor where I was filming earlier, and I haven't removed it. I'm lazy. And the Shape Changer book is actually back on my TBR card, because I have to read the next one, so yeah. But this was my update. I will check in with you when I have a new update. Bye. Hello friends, it is now Wednesday, and I have just received some book mail, and I thought I'd share it with you in this vlog. Because I haven't checked in a couple of days, but I have been reading a little bit. I mean, I started on The Darkest Rising by Susan Cooper, and I read 20 pages. That's the amount. And I'm listening to Shards of Honor by Lois Master Bujold, the first book in the Bokojikan saga. I'll come back with a review later. Currently, good. I was just updating I just changed the battery on my my Garmin tracker now, so I had to update it so that the watch was correct. And it took a little bit of time because I'm not the one who updates, refresh every day. I needed a scissor with the tape. I have 2 packages. One of them is from a Danish retail sales place, and these are a mix of things. The first thing I got was a book called Sunshine by Robert McKinley. I think it's a vampire story, and that's why I initially bought it. It says there are places in the world where darkness rules, where it's unwise to walk, but there hadn't been any trouble out at the lake for years, and Sunshine just needed a spot where she could be alone with her thoughts. Vampires never entered her mind until they found her. So that sounds awesome. I've heard a lot of great things about Robert McKinley, but I've never read anything by her, so can't wait to try and read that. Another thing I bought was because I recently saw this one, and it is I'll Be There For You, the one about Friends by Kelsey Miller, which is non-fiction about the TV show Friends. I don't know what it's about exactly, but I just know that Friends is my sort of comfort TV show. The one that I know it has a lot of flaws. I know it's not perfect at all, and I know there are definitely things that is not good. But if I'm down, if I'm feeling bad, if I'm not in the right mind, it's something I put on just to be comfortable. And I know it's been helping my sister a lot, but she's been stressed, on sick leave because of stress. And one of the only things that helped her was, like, she had a bad headache, she had a lot of things going on, but when she put on Friends, she was able to sort of relax and just watch that, and just she felt better. So it definitely means a lot to us. So I want to read it, but sort of I want my sister to read it first. I don't know if it will be anything she wants to read, but I kind of just want her to maybe read it if she has time. But I don't know if she would have time now. Otherwise, I'll just read it first at some point. And the last thing I got was a new release that's called A Phoenix First Must Burn by Patrice Caldwell. This is a short story or anthology with stories of black girl magic, resistance, and hope. So it has story from Elizabeth Acevedo, Amory, Patrice Caldwell, I don't know how to say, Danielle Clayton. I didn't like the one thing I read by her, but otherwise, Charlotte Nicole Davis, Justina Ireland, Rebecca Roanhaus, Karen Strong, Ashley Woodfull, and Evie Soboy. So there's a lot of people writing, and it's just 16 tales. I'm kind of excited to read it at one point, so decided to get it when I saw it wasn't very much. So yeah, that is the first order. The other one is my awesomebooks.com package, so I think there's Terry Pratchett books. It must be, because I almost never buy anything from there without buying any Pratchett. And I'm pretty sure I need the next one for Maze. But I forgot, I think one of them is a hardback, and I never really get hardbacks. I like Terry Pratchett hardbacks. But I think they were actually. So I think that's why it's in the box like this. Because most often it comes in these plastic wrap things. Oh, yay. Okay, I've forgotten some of the books, but I'm excited. Let's start out with the Pratchett books first. Because I've got two, and they're both hardbacks. So now I'm apparently starting to collect the hardbacks, but they were actually cheaper than the paperback. So the first one is The Fifth Elephant by Terry Pratchett. I think it's the next one I need to read after this one, if I remember correctly. I think it's a City Watch book. So I'm happy. I have one of the hardbacks already, which I was gifted from a online friend. This is the first one, and the other one I got was the one I have to read after that one, I think, and that is The Truth, also by Terry Pratchett, which it's a 25th Discworld novel, so yeah, it makes sense. So I'm currently reading the 23rd, 24th, and 25th. I wonder what series this is, but I'm looking forward to reading it nonetheless. Then I got 2 books by an author. I read 3 books. One of them was a standalone, and 2 other were the 2 first in the series, and I loved the standalone a lot. I also really enjoyed the series. And I sort of have to be in a certain mood when I read them, but the first one is The Amber Room by Steve Berry. This is a standalone book, and it follows, I don't know who this one is about, but the one that I read by him that was a standalone as well is called Romanov Prophecy. So that was about the conspiracy theories surrounding the Romanov family. So it sort of alternates between storylines in the past as well as current day timelines. And this one says Rachel Cutler loves her job and her kids and remains civil to her ex-husband Paul, but everything changes when her father dies under suspicious circumstances, leaving behind clues to a treasure called the Amber Room, one of the most intriguing mysteries of the last century. Desperate for the truth, Rachel takes off for Germany with Paul close behind. Before long, they're in over their heads, locked into a treacherous game with professional killers. Rachel and Paul find themselves on a collision course with the forces of greed, power, and history itself. His writing is similar, a little bit like his story is a little bit similar to Dan Brown's. With how it takes something ancient and makes it into sort of a thriller, adventure sort of thing. But I kind of love it when I'm in the mood for that, because I fly through them. And I haven't read any, I've read one Dan Brown, and I feel like Steve Berry's writing is a lot better. He is also better at researching, and he always has an author's note in the back where he talks about things that, or maybe he doesn't, writer's note, yeah, what he researched, what things he added in that wasn't real. So a lot of things actually taken from historical things and stuff, and I think that's pretty cool. The other one is also a Steve Berry book, and that is The Venetian Betrayal by Steve Berry, which is the 3rd book in the Cod Malone series. And I read the first 2. I enjoyed them, and they follow this he was a security sort of type person in the White House, and retired from that and moved to Denmark and started a bookshop. For ex-field agent Cod Malone, the stakes have never been higher. A deadly virus, oh no, I'm not gonna read it right now. A deadly virus that could wipe out civilization as we know it, and a cure that lies buried in the past. A secret international coalition has created a lethal biological weapon. I seriously did not know this was about a virus. Whoever develops the cure will control the future of global warfare. Yet that cure could already exist buried centuries before with Alexander the Great. When Malone hears about it, he joins the hunt for Alexander's long-lost tomb, and his quest soon becomes harrowing, a harrowing fight for truth that has unimaginable repercussions. I have so far really enjoyed his pace when I read them. I fly through them. And the last and final thing that I got was I wanted to get into more Neil Gaiman books. I didn't know which one to get first, but I got Smoke and Mirrors, which is a collection of Gaiman's short fiction. And I feel like he would be a good in short fiction. I've already read some of his shorter things in terms of the graphic works. But Neil Gaiman has been hit or miss, but I think I want to try this out, and then I was also close to buying The Ocean at the End of the Lane, but that would be for a later date. But I'm happy with my purchases. I'm looking forward to reading them all, and I have more books on the way, but I am not going to show you them. I also don't think I will get them until after Easter, so. But I'm happy I got these, and those 3 books. So now I can safely go into hibernation. I mean, I could do that before, but I mean, I would know I'll get to these soon, but I don't know when exactly I'll get to these 3. So that is always the question. And I also don't really know. I mean, one of them I have an idea about, but the other 2 I'm not sure. So we'll see. Anyway, this is my check-in. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hello friends. It is Thursday. Thursday is a holiday in Denmark, which is, it's a little bit weird, having this holiday where you're not really able to do anything. But I have actually plans to possibly go to my parents and change my tires to summer tires, and wash my car and stuff like that, and maybe be outside, because the weather is supposed to be pretty okay today, but from now on they won't. Apologies for putting on some lotion. This is what I got, the prescription I got from the doctor, and it seems to be working a little bit. It's already a lot better than it was a few days ago. So it's good to know that it works. But it is something that is only in this area, so you sort of have to only make sure to have it there, and it's just, you're sort of instructed to how much you should put on. And when it's dried, then I put on normal day cream, one that has some sun protection as well, because your skin gets really your skin is easily sunburned, because it's this low, like, sort of cream does something to it because it works so much. It dries out your skin and you become really, yeah. So I have one with a day cream with some SPF. So what I wanted to do, I'm in my pajamas. I didn't just wake up, but I literally did just get out from bed. It's 8:15, so it's not that much. I have been reading from The Darkest Rising this morning. I read from this book about 18 pages, which sounds like not so much, but this omnibus has extremely, I'll just show you, small font. You could probably tell that it is takes a little more time to read through one, and I also a little bit tired, always tired in the morning when I wake up, so I'm not super fast a reader first time in the morning. But I do love reading in the morning. I like the way of waking up and just reading a little bit until you're too hungry to stay in bed. That's basically what I do when I have days off. And this book, yesterday I wouldn't have been able to tell you what it was about because I was only 20 pages into it and nothing had really happened yet. But at this point, we're following this main character, Will. One day on his birthday, he discovers this door that leads him into another sort of world where he finds out he's the last person to join the old ones, which will form a complete circle or something, and it will be, there's a prophecy going on when he has trained for his magical purposes, the things that he can do, they can work against the dark power of the dark, which is rising. So there's also always trying to battling the between the light and the darkness, I think. And this case, the dark is rising, so that's why it's called The Dark is Rising. I think, if I have understood that correctly. So it's sort of, it has a couple of riddles and it has some and I'm looking forward to seeing how he will like train in the future. And so I'm happy I'm reading it. It's a little slow. I hope that I'll be able to finish this today or tomorrow. So I'm hoping to make a good amount of progress in this, because then I'll have Saturday and Sunday to read House Moving Castle. I'm alright if I finish this early on Saturday, and then I can move on to this one, because this is a lot shorter. I have a feeling it will be easier to read, and the font is a lot bigger. So it's not shorter, it's about 200, actually it's 300 pages, but the font is pretty large, so I think it would be pretty easy to read. But I will like to have at least about 2 days for me to read it, so that I don't stress. So that is that plan. Another book that I've been reading over the past week, or the past couple of days, has been Shards of Honor by Lois McMaster Bujold, and I was really looking forward to it because I know it was one of Rachel's from Kalanadi's favorite series. And I have heard her talk about it so many times, but I've never really figured out what exactly it's about. But this first one follows Cordelia. She's a captain of this spaceship. I forgot what it's called right now. But she is taken hostage by another ship. Like there's from Barrea, I think. And then, I mean, I'm not really good with the places, what they're called. And then she is sort of taken hostage by Alvi Fakosigan. Is that what his first name was? Like, he's called Fakosigan too, as a surname. And then it sort of turns into this high stakes thing where a lot of things happen. A lot of things happen in terms of they are put in on different trials, not trials, what's it called? They have to definitely work together to sort of fight off all of these different things, and it ends up with them sort of slowly forming a romantic relationship, and I'm actually really into that romantic relationship, so I'm pretty excited about where it's going. I forgot how long I'm in. I did listen while I was cooking yesterday. I'm 3 hours into it. Out of, I think it must be 4 hours and 25 minutes, something like that, in my speed. So it's about 9 hours in full time. I'm really enjoying it, but I am planning on buying the next books in physical form, because I have found that even if I enjoy this one because I enjoy the characters and I can relate to them, all of the scientific stuff, I have a harder time to grasp all of the things when I listen, because I have to pay a lot more attention to those things. So I've decided that with the next books, I'm probably going to get a physical copy and read them myself, even though I have access to all of the audios. We'll see how it goes, but that's sort of what I'm thinking, just because it's easier for me to understand it. Otherwise, I'll just do a mix of things where I look at the text as I'm listening to the audio, sort of as I do with the classics. I really enjoy it, but I would like to understand the whole universe a little better, and I think I'll do that better if I read it myself. And I can see that I can get a used copy of them pretty cheap, but I'm happy I was able to read this first one, figuring out if it's something I like before I start buying the books. If I remember correctly, you're supposed to read, after you've read Shards of Honor, you're supposed to read Barrea, because it's a direct sequel, like, to what happens in this one, and then you can go on with the chronological order of how it was published, more or less. If I remember correctly, by Rachel, that is what you have to do, but I'll have to look a little bit more into it. I find it difficult reading book 7 after the first one, but if it's a direct sequel, I understand it, so I will do it. But this was my update for now. I'll check in with you later when I have read some more, and yeah, bye. Hello. I feel like every time I do an update, I'm in this position. I wanted to come to you with an update of a book that I finished. Right, letting you know that I finished The Darkest Rising. The Green Witch is starting now, the next book. And I read this for the book, for the classic SFF readathon, but I also sort of read it as an owl for, was it Defense Against the Dark Arts, because of a book set at sea. And I'd say the first book was definitely more worthy of that, because that was set like at a coastline, like there was a scavenger hunt of some kind where they actually went into a cave at the sea, if I remember correctly. This one, I mean, there are a lot of mentions about them going over the Thames, so that, like, that's not like the sea. And then there was once during a riddle, there was a big passage about where the character went underwater and talked about fish and all of that, and a few times after that there was also some mentions about, because there was something to do with water and fire, and so there was something about it, but I don't think it was actually set so much at sea. But I hope that the things that was present is enough for me to justify to use it for the owl, because I don't know what else to read for that. This book was about Will, who is the 7th son of the 7th son, which is a reoccurring thing that happens in fantasy books or magical, in terms of magical people of power. There's something about the number 7, and the fact that if a son is the 7th son of the 7th son, kind of thing. Because of that, he becomes part of this circle of the light, which is to stop the darkness that is rising at the moment. And he is the last piece for the circle, and he doesn't grow into power until he turns 11. So on his 11th birthday, he finally gets his power, and he meets up with the others. Another one who is also from the circle, and they are known as the old ones. And yeah, overall it was pretty interesting, but I remember enjoying the first one a lot more. I don't know if it was the sort of scavenger hunt thing I found fun, but this one was definitely a bit more of a struggle for me to get through. I did think it was good, and I think that part of it with the different riddles was fun, but I'm hoping that I'll like the next ones a little bit more. I think I'm gonna give it 3 stars, because I did enjoy it, but it wasn't the best thing ever. Well, I really disliked the writing this time around. I think the first book that I read it in a Danish translated edition, and the writing here really didn't click with me very much. And I don't know if it was because of the translation that I didn't pick up on it, because obviously it's not the same reading a book in Danish. But I definitely think that it was sometimes a weird phrasing and weird words that were chosen to be used. But it is a book from the 70s. When was it that I said it was published? The Darkest Rising, first published in Great Britain in 1973. And actually Oversea Under Stone was published in 1965, so it's even older. So I don't know if I really enjoyed the writing. It was weird, but I mean, it was a decent enough book, and I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I have also made a little bit of progress in Shards of Honor. I'm 4 hours into it now, so I have 18 minutes left. I will probably listen to those tomorrow as I do some cleaning at home. Also just letting you know, it's Saturday evening, so I only have tomorrow left to finish things. And the last and final thing that I have on my TBR is Howl's Moving Castle, which I did start, but I have only read the first 22 pages, so it's difficult for me to say whether I like it or not. But it's pretty easily read because the text is quite big, so I hope that I can still finish it tomorrow. We'll see. It also depends on how much I get into the story, whether I want to just power through it. But I'm happy with what I've read so far, at least the amount of pages that I've read so far this month. But yeah, it was fine. I just wanted to check in with this update, and then I think I'll watch an episode of Buffy before I go to bed, and then I will go to bed, sleep, read something in the morning, and then get on with the day. Yeah, so this was my update. I'll talk to you soon. I'll talk to you tomorrow with an update. Bye. Hello friends, it is now Sunday, the last day of the readathon, and I wanted to check in, with an update of how I've been doing. Right now, I mean, I have read for about an hour and a half or something during the day so far, and I'm on page 108 of Howl's Moving Castle, and I'm definitely enjoying it. I understand why a lot of people enjoy it as much as they do, because I think it's very whimsical and fun, and you don't really know where it's gonna go. Our main character, Sophie, I was just saying the sister's name. Sophie is the eldest of 3 sisters, and she is an apprentice at her own mother's hat shop. When one day a witch comes into the store and put a spell on her that makes her instantly grow old, like becoming an old lady, and she seeks shelter or adventure, I guess, in this moving castle, Howl's Moving Castle. And when she gets there, she finds out that there's a demon sort of thing possessing the house that makes it move, and she sort of makes a deal with him that he will, if she finds out how he can be released from the house, he would help her get released from the, like turning her back to normal. So she convinces Howl, who owns the castle, to become a cleaning lady and sort of that. And yeah, it's just them doing weird stuff in this house, and so far I'm enjoying it for sure. So I've read the first 7 chapters. I still hope that I'll be able to finish it today, but first I need to sort of do a little bit of a cleaning in my room, especially like over here and sort of over in this area. I have a couple of things. I need to throw out some trash. I have some laundry to fold, and I need to get another batch of laundry on. So that is my plan. I have a couple of books on the floor from when I was filming earlier that I need to move. And yeah, then I'm gonna go for a walk later as well. So that is also great because the weather outside is pretty nice today. So I thought I wanted to go for a long walk, just to enjoy it. Yesterday it was really rainy. I went for a mountain bike ride yesterday, and halfway out my tires were a little bit flat, or flatter than the norm, so it was really rough cycling. I don't know if any of you have tried riding on a flat bike, but it definitely takes a lot more effort to get it anywhere, and I usually don't have any problems at all keeping up with everyone else, but I really struggled yesterday. And then my mom said, your tire looks like it's a little bit flat, and I was like, oh, it might be why. And it just got worse as we got on the route, and I figure it's probably because it was had a puncture of some kind, but it was a small one, so it like just seeped out a little bit by bit. But definitely my dad promised he would like help me getting it back to normal so I can go out on more bicycle rides. So yeah, anyway, right now I'm going to be listening to an audio and do some cleaning, and then I will get back to reading later. I also need lunch before I go for a walk, and then I'll probably go for a walk and then come back and read, and then I'll be doing some dinner until I have to do dinner. So that is the plan. Considering it's Easter Sunday, I also have an Easter egg I want from my mom, so I'll probably get that tonight. Yeah, so everything's good on this last day of the current readathon. I'm a little blurry, I see. Hello. Anyway, this was all for me right now. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hello friends, it is now 11 p.m. on Sunday. I just wanted you to know that I just finished Howl's Moving Castle, so I definitely managed to finish all of the books that I wanted to, which I'm happy about. I really pushed through to finish this one because I wanted to have finished all of the books that I set for myself for this readathon. Considering it was a 12-day readathon and I only had 4 books on it, I felt like that was definitely a thing I could accomplish. Also, all of the books were pretty short in terms of page length and stuff. And so I also finished Shards of Honor today. I can't really say much more about the plot of Shards of Honor than I already have. without spoiling it, I think. But I definitely enjoyed it. I thought that the characters were really well written. I'm really interested in following on with the characters from that book in the future, and seeing what will happen in this world as a whole. I didn't really like the narrator of the audiobook. I thought the narrator didn't do anything good. I thought it was a little bit weird because it was a male narrator, but the majority of this book was told from a female perspective. I don't even think it switched, did it? So I felt like it would have suited the audio better that they had chosen a woman to be the narrator of the book, considering it was a woman who was the protagonist of the book. And he wasn't really good either. So I'm definitely I'm definitely certain that when I continue with these books, this series, it will be in the physical form, and I'll read it physically instead. So yeah, but more about this one. As I said, it follows Sophie, keep messing up the name, who one day when she's at work in this hat shop, gets a spell on her that turns her into an old lady, and she flees the shop and ends up in Howl's moving castle. It's a moving house that travels around, and it is sort of I don't want to say possessed, but because that would be the wrong term, I think, in this case, but it is controlled by this demon. And the demon and Sophie makes a deal that they would help each other out of the whatever contract they have. Like, the demon has a contract between him and Howl, that makes it possible for Howl to control the house and control the demon, and they work together in that way. And Sophie wants to obviously get back to her normal self and not being an old lady, so they sort of help each other out. But then it turns into much more of a adventure story type of thing, where yeah, there's a lot of things going on. I can't really tell you a lot more about it. I thought it was such a fun story. I thought all of the characters were really interesting. I mean, all of the characters we were introduced to that was definitely part of the house were really great, and I definitely enjoyed reading about all of them and getting to know them all. And it was quite a chase as well, like figuring out how to what was up with the Witch of the Waste. I definitely enjoyed it. I cannot see why everyone really loves this. I think it did everything right. I think it's middle grade, but I almost feel like this could be considered also a young adult book, because I think that Sophie and her sisters are a little bit older than the middle grade age, but I don't think at the time this was published that there was a certain distinguish between middle grade, young adult. There was not a certain young adult genre. There's just kids books, like, I guess. So at least it wasn't known in the same way it is today. So I don't know. Definitely enjoyed it and definitely recommend it, and it has a lot of, it holds up really well in a lot of ways, and I can't wait to read more from the series and from this author. I think I'm ending up giving it actually a 5 stars. I was really impressed with it, so I'm really happy about that, because I haven't had very many 5-star reads of the year, so happy I could give it that. I'm happy that I actually was able to finish all the things I had on my TBR. And I would like to thank Maya, the host from Maya Reads, for creating this readathon. I think it's important to read some of the old science fiction and fantasy books to remember where it all came from, and also definitely to remember all of those wonderful ladies who wrote really, really great science fiction and fantasy back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and before, but that wasn't sadly as talked about and as remembered as some of the males from the same genre. So I'm super happy that there was this focus on that, and I hope she'll do a readathon like this in the future as well, and I'll definitely try and participate. I'm sorry it's a little bit blurry. It is in the evening and it's pretty dark in here, so I apologize. But I wanted to wrap this up right now, and I will, yeah. Let me know if you participated in this readathon, and if you did, what did you end up reading? Did you discover some new favorites? Some new authors you want to continue reading from? Also let me know about that, and also let me know if you've read any of these and what you thought of them, if you agree with any of my opinions about the books that I've read so far this week, or this readathon. I keep saying it's a week, but it's been 12 days, so yeah. Anyway, this is all I had for you today. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video very, very soon. Goodbye!